First up, though, the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a historic visit to Ramallah in Palestine with one clear message that India is dehyphenating its ties with Israel and Palestine. And Palestine did roll out the red carpet for the Indian Prime Minister, even conferring the Grand Collar, which is the highest order given to foreign dignitaries, kings, heads of state. The commendation given to Prime Minister Modi reads, quote, in recognition of his wise leadership and his lofty national and international stature, and in appreciation of his efforts to promote the historic relations between the state of Palestine and the Republic of India, end quote.
आपने आज मुझे बहुत आत्मीयता के साथ फिलिस्तीन के सर्वोच्च सम्मान से नवाजा है। ये पूरे भारत के लिए सम्मान का विषय है और भारत के लिए फिलिस्तीन की मित्रता और सद्भावना का प्रतीक है। इस सम्मान के लिए मैं 125 करोड़ हिंदुस्तानियों की तरफ से आपका हृदय से बहुत-बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूं।
In all, 6 agreements were signed between the two countries in the fields of technology and healthcare. This is the first visit to the region by the Indian Prime Minister and the first by a world leader after the United Nations General Assembly vote rejecting the US President Donald Trump's decision to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Prime Minister Modi stressed that peaceful dialogue was the only way in which the Palestine statehood issue could be resolved.
भारत इस क्षेत्र में शांति और स्थिरता की बहुत उम्मीद करता है। हमारा मानना है कि अंततः फिलिस्तीन के प्रश्न का स्थायी जवाब ऐसी वार्ता और समझ में ही निहित है जिसके जरिए शांतिपूर्ण सह अस्तित्व का मार्ग मिल सके।
Prime Minister Modi had taken a helicopter from the Jordanian capital of Amman, where he had spent the night to reach Ramallah this morning. And interestingly enough, it was Israeli Air Force jets that accompanied Prime Minister Modi's chopper to Palestine. Earlier in the day, Prime Minister Modi laid a wreath at the mausoleum of the Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat. He was accompanied by the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. And up next for Prime Minister Narendra Modi on his 3-country West Asia tour is the United Arab Emirates. WION's Nishchita Virendra is in the UAE and spoke to India's ambassador to the Emirates, that is Navdeep Singh Suri, on the expectations from Prime Minister Modi's visit. Listen in.
Joining me today is Mr. Navdeep Singh Suri, who is India's ambassador to the UAE. Thank you, Mr. Suri, for joining us. First of all, I'd like to ask you, what are the highlights of this time Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit? This is the second time he's visiting UAE in 3 years. So what does it really mean for India, and what are the highlights?
Well, the fact that he's visiting UAE for the second time in 2.5 years shows the importance that he gives to this relationship, the energy that he has personally invested into this relationship, and not just his visits, but also during the same 2.5-year period, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed has also visited India twice, first in February 2016, and then as our chief guest on Republic Day in 2017. So you can see the intensity of the interaction. And in a sense, the reasons are natural. This is a country which is home to 3.3 million Indians. That's now the largest concentration of Indian nationals anywhere in the world. Last year, they sent about $13 billion in remittances to India, which probably sustains 1.2, 1.3 crore families, people in India. When you look at the trade side, UAE is our 3rd largest trading partner, $52 billion last year in two-way trade. 2nd largest destination for exports, $32 billion, next only to the US. And now an increasingly important source of investment and a strategic partner. So you can see that there's a lot going on in this area, and sometimes it's not quite reflected in just the size of the country.
Absolutely. And it has repeatedly been told this time, even on our channel, as to how this particular meet, like his previous meet, the Prime Minister's visit, goes on to show that the relationship between the two countries has gone way past being a buyer-seller relationship. We're getting into areas of education, we're getting into areas of security, and we're making it more and more broad between the two nations. So if you can just throw more light on that. Just a few minutes back there were MOUs and agreements signed as well.
Well, you know, the MOUs and agreements that you witnessed for establishing the first ever overseas IIM Ahmedabad campus, or for the Manipal Group to establish a medical college, or this amazing agreement between the Dubai Commodities Center and Crop Data to cut out the middleman and make sure that the farmers use today's technology platforms to get the best prices, are, in a sense, a symbol of the deepening relationship. Now, in addition to these, you will see this evening, in the presence of our leaders, some extremely important agreements that take place in the energy sector, in the railway sector, an agreement that helps our workers here, a manpower agreement, and so on. What these agreements do is create frameworks that then diplomats like us take up and use them as means for broadening the relationship.
Certainly, and we can see that heading in a very, very healthy direction. I have been interacting with Indians here since I've arrived, and there seems to be a lot of positivity about Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit. They feel that finally their voices are being heard here. They have a temple complex that is all set to come out, and it's not going to be a small temple complex. It is going to be sprawled over a 55,000 square meter land. And then you had many of them talking about the anti-hate law that was implemented in 2015, and the Ministry of Tolerance and Happiness that has been set up as well. The attitude that has changed towards the expatriate community. So if you can, you have been here since 2016. What is the kind of change that you have really seen?
I think it happens at multiple levels. One is that when you have the kind of personal equation that the leaders have, there's a huge trickle-down effect of that that you can see very visibly. You saw it visually last night when Burj Khalifa and Dubai Frame and the ADNOC building and others were lit up in Indian colors, right? And obviously that is something that the community savors, that look, me, my country, my community is being recognized. The temple itself, I feel, has two very important dimensions. The first is that it's been a long-standing need of the Indian community that we need a place of worship that we can call our own. But equally important is the message that it sends for UAE, that here's a country in the Muslim world that respects tolerance, that respects diversity, that is home to 200 different nationalities, and provides people the space to practice their language, their culture, their religion, and integrate with the communities here. So I think it's a hugely important message that UAE itself has taken a position of zero tolerance towards radicalization, zero tolerance towards terrorism and violent extremism, and a very proactive approach towards promoting the idea of tolerance and diversity through a ministry of tolerance.